Hello everybody, welcome to Dark Souls 3. I am the Orca Theory, and I'm going to be playing through this in an LP format. I bought this game on release, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I played it to death. And now with the DLC coming out pretty soon, October 15th or something or other, it'd be fun to go through the game again and just see what the new patches have done. And I'm also going to challenge myself a little bit. Normally in these Dark Souls games, I am a total dex guy. I'm a filthy casual who uses dex weapons. I am going to try and get my hands on strength weapons as soon as possible. I think the Claymore is the first kind of, at least quality-leaning strength weapon. And I will go from there. So we are going to start a new game. As you can see, I am playing offline. I am doing that also as a challenge, so that the only summons that I can get are the NPC summons. If I choose to summon at all, I'm going to try not to do that unless I'm just having a super difficult time with a certain boss or something. Yeah, so let's get going. New game.
Yes, indeed. It is called Lothric, where the transitory lands of the Lords of Cinder converge. In venturing north, the pilgrims discover the truth of the old words. The fire fades, and the lords go without thrones. When the link of fire is threatened, the bell tolls, unearthing the old lords of Cinder from their graves. Aldrich, saint of the deep, Farron's undead legion, the Abyss Watchers. And the reclusive lord of the profaned capital. Yon the giant. Only in truth, the lords will abandon their thrones. And the unkindled will rise. Nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.
Wow, what a fucking intro, huh? Okay, so we are going to be making a new character here. And just so everybody knows, I am probably going to end up spoiling a lot of Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, and Dark Souls 3. I've played all three games pretty extensively at this point. I am mature. This will be fun. So I will be talking about the lore from all three games. So if you're not caught up on all three Souls games, just be forewarned going into this that as I encounter things and encounter ideas, I'm going to just be talking through them. I want to go for a strength build. The problem is that just about every strength weapon needs some combination of strength and dexterity. So even though I am going to be doing just about a pure strength, really the best route to go would be something like a knight. You take a look at him and he's got low intelligence, low faith, and low luck, but his strength and dexterity are both at 13 and 12. That might be actually the best bet for us, because I think the Claymore, and I could be wrong here, has 13 dex as a requirement, which means we'd only need to level that once, and then we could just dump stuff into strength. Yeah, I think we'll do that. The burial gifts, really interesting this time around. Dark Souls 1, there were some really interesting starting gifts, like the Master Key, which gave you access to some shortcuts and some late game areas, like right from the start if you knew what you were doing. These aren't really all that great. The only two that I could really see being viable are the Fire Gem and the Young White Branch. The Fire Gem will give you access to fire weapons basically from the start of the game, if that's the route you choose to take. And the Young White Branch, as you'll see once we get to the Undead Settlement, there's a giant that's shooting arrows. If you have a Young White Branch in your inventory, anywhere in your inventory, he won't fire at you. Those arrows won't do you any damage. So those are both two of the most immediately useful. Black Firebomb I could see being kind of useful for the first boss, Udix Gundyr. He does not react well to fire. And maybe if you're into invasions, you might want to get a correct Red Eye Orb, but that's a crapshoot, because you only get one. So I'm actually going to go with the Young White Branch. Face presets. Any of this stuff that I do for the character creation beyond this point, I'll just fast forward.
I'm gonna try to make myself... Oh my god, that guy. Okay, so let's go through this. Let's start with here. One of the big criticisms of this game, and I know German Spy talked about this, is that there's a lot of clipping that happens with the armor. It was kind of prevalent in some of the last few games, but in this one it's heavily prevalent, where if you're wearing any sort of heavy armor and you wear anything but the slim types, like even if you're burly, or very burly, it'll actually, the armor will clip from like your shoulder to your chest, that sort of thing. I'm just gonna go with the standard build. Appearance was, that's fine. Sneak. Ideal body hair. Build detail, that's all fine. Face detail, hair. Let's give myself hair that kind of looks like me. I don't have a big widow's peak like this, that's probably...
Alright, we will finalize our creation. Let's get going. Mysterious graveyard. This whole area is very strange. The idea of us being unkindled. In the previous games, you were undead. It was a curse caused by the dark sign, which basically meant you could not die. But as you continued to die and continued to lose your purpose in life, you became what these games refer to as hollow, which is kind of just, you're mad, you're insane. Camera. Okay, these are all just the tutorial stuff. I haven't been here in a while, so I'm just going to be kind of clicking on things as we go. These orange markings are the helping markings. They'll give you tips, like this tells you how to target and all that stuff. The only ones I'm going to be able to see are the developer ones, because I am offline. Normally, if you're online, you actually see everybody's. So, I believe there's an item back here. There is an item back here. So, but anyways, going back to the hollow stuff in the unkindled, we are unkindled this time, but as you can see, we actually still have a dark sign. So, what we can assume here is that we were once undead, and then we were died, we were buried, and now we've come back as this unkindled. We are just ash now. There are some implications to that as we go on, because the nature of the unkindled is to bring the lords to their thrones, and once we get to the cemetery, or the shrine, we'll talk about that a little bit more. But hey, guy, not today. you forget how cool this longsword is. This is just a standard longsword. My favorite weapons from all three of these games is just the standard longsword. It's got one of the best movesets. You know, standard slashes. You know, those are the R2 attacks. Kind of a more vertical slice. Way horizontal slice. It's got a great moveset. It's upgradable. You can buff it with any sort of the magical buffs that you have. I want to make sure. Okay. That's up. So we're making our way through here. These guys are slowly getting tougher, but what we can do is if we two-hand here, we get a little bit of a damage boost. Just a smidge. It's not much, but enough. Yeah, most of these games, my first run-through, I actually will just use the longsword. Like, all the way through the first run-through, because I love the longsword. It's great. It's fantastic. Excellent. Yep, plunging attacks. It's a good area. This is actually a pretty good tutorial area overall. It's short. It's probably the shortest of all the tutorial areas. But it actually feels purposeful. Like, it feels like an area that's lived in, as opposed to Dark Souls 2's version of the tutorial, that weird wooded area, where it feels very video gamey. Very video gamey. Now, I came down here so I can get these fire bombs, and I got these fire bombs because they are handy on the Unix Gundyr. Feel like there's somebody coming after me. I thought I heard footsteps. Oh yeah, it's you. Okay. What's up, guy? Get a backstab in there. I am actually... Dark Souls 1, I've spent a fair amount of time parrying and riposting. Or riposting, depending on where you live. This game, I haven't. And it might be worth a try. This shield has a basic parry. You can tell what kind of parry it is by the animation that plays. This is like the most basic form. Like the buckler and stuff, they actually have a different animation, and it's a more liberal window. But yeah, I haven't done too much of that in this game. So I may actually, well, if I'm going to be using strength weapons. So here's our first boss. The Unix Gundyr. Unix meaning judge. You can see here that door beyond is closed, and I'm not going to check it, but it is locked. And this guy's got a sword right through him and some weird growth on his back. We are going to be meeting that growth. We pull out the sword. Immediately put it in our pocket. And I'm just going to slash away. Okay. Now he's active. And you actually see that damage does occur. Like, any damage that happens before he starts up. Whoop. Good dodge, good dodge. These bosses are all about timing. Okay, and here we go. He's gonna launch into attack mode. Can keep him with fire bombs. Oh, shit. Okay. See, this is where, like, the black firebomb would be super handy. Okay. We got him down a fair amount. He does a little slam attack. There's a little bit of an AoE on there. That's why I dodged. This isn't too bad. It just gets super confusing, because there's a lot going on there. He still maintains his spear weapon, and now he's got like a claw and a huge mouth, but otherwise it's still the same moveset from the first phase of the fight. So it ain't too bad. And I missed this the first time I came through here. A bonfire does actually appear. Now, for those of you wondering, I know about the crystal thing in the back that gives you the Titanite chunks that the boss weapon upgrade. I'm not concerned with it right now. I'm not going to probably be using any boss weapon, so this is really cool. I really like this. We have a giant grave here, and there's actually some discussion about whose grave this actually is. Some people think it's Yorm's based on the size. Some people think it's Unix Gundyr. I actually think it's the final boss of the game. to be perfectly honest. There's a tree growing out of it, meaning trees typically in this game are symbols of support in this universe. You know, going back to the first game with the hollow ash tree that goes down to the bottom of Blighttown. So trees have this implication in the story of being very supportive of the world. They carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. It's not just the world itself. It's part of the overall structure. So the fact that there's a tree growing out of there means that's a very important grave, and that's why I think it's our last boss. And he was one of the things that arose. We'll talk about that later. Up there we see Lothric Castle. We're gonna be spending some time there. I will see you, buddy. I will see you. Okay. So now we can actually get a quick look around the side here of the Firelink Shrine, and you can see there actually is an enemy standing off in the corner there. Kind of neat. Did I rest the bonfire? I didn't, but I've still got 2, so 2 Estus flasks. Not a bad thing to have. Okay. So now we are entering Firelink Shrine proper. Wildly different from the Firelink Shrine of Dark Souls 1, which was dilapidated, broken down, completely different in structure. There wasn't a bell tower or like this little shrine area. So some time has passed. We know time has definitely passed. There's the guy that we saw hanging out. See you later. Oh no! And he just disappears into the ether. Great. There are some items around here. I believe they're just soul items, but let's take out these guys. Got a crossbow. Oh, you hit me! Good trade, good trade. Okay, got a spear dude. He can't damage me while I'm in the middle of this animation. And now he's down. Okay. I believe there's an item somewhere around here. I think it's down the back over there. Okay, so we'll go just grab it real quick. There you are. Just want to make sure. I have fallen off these cliffs because I am an idiot. I am not going to pretend that I am anywhere near good at these games. I am not. You see guys like Epic Name Bro or Lobos or Peeve or any one of those guys, and they are so much better at these games than I am. I have taken the classic approach to Souls game where I just bash my head against it until I win. Man, that first playthrough of Dark Souls 1, that probably took me about 80 hours, I think, the first playthrough of Dark Souls 1. And a lot of that was just learning the game. Like, probably the first 20 hours of that was spent in, like, the Undead Burg, Undead Parish area. Just getting the lay of the land. The game is not hard to learn, but it forces you to relearn certain tropes about 3D adventure gaming. So, we are in Firelink Shrine. And here are the Thrones of the Lords. We are going to be finding out what to do with them very shortly. But there is one that actually is here, Ludlith the Exiled. And you can actually talk to him from here, but just for the sake of the LP, I'm actually going to go right up to his face. You can see he's got no legs, or stumps at least. He's got a crown on his head. He's very tiny.
O thou unkindled, and a seeker of lords, I am Ludlith of Corland.
Ludlith, sorry.
Look not in bewilderment as I say. I linked the fire long ago, becoming the Lord of Cinder. If substantiation be thy want, set thine eyes upon my charred corse.
Your charred corse?
This sad cadaver. No need to be coy. Have a closer look.
So this guy, he is one of the people that has linked the fire over the years. In this world, there's a constant balance between linking the fire, letting the fire fade, and ultimately the fire does somehow come back and it gets relinked and the world is light or the world is dark, depending on the outcome. This is just one of those guys that did actually link the fire.
Knowest thou of our purpose? 5 thrones will take 5 lords as kindling for the linking of the fire. The fast-fading flame must be linked to preserve this world. A reenactment of the first linking of the fire. So it is, I became a Lord of Cinder. I may be but small, but I will die a Colossus.
Yep. So in the first game, you learn that the Lord of Light, Gwyn, he was noticing that the flame was dying out. The first flame which powers the whole world. So he went and he said, I'm going to use my soul, I'm going to use my power to relink this shit. And that was the first linking of the flame. And the events of Dark Souls 1 takes place after that all occurs. Dark Souls 2 kind of enhances that a little bit by introducing more aspects of the opposite of the light, which is the dark. But we'll get into that in a sec. We got to meet our Shrine Maiden. We're going to become good friends with her.
Welcome to the bonfire, unkindled one. I am a firekeeper.
Yes, you are.
I tend to the flame, and tend to thee. The lords have left their thrones, and must be delivered to them. To this end, I am at thy side.
Okay, great. And she is our level up lady, essentially. She'll do some other stuff for us later on, but right now, her main concern is level up.
Ashen One, to be unkindled is to be a vessel for souls. Sovereignless souls will become thy strength. I will show thee how.
She will show me. She'll show me how to take these souls that I'm about to get and turn them into raw energy. Give me the power. Anything else? Okay, so she's got nothing else to say. We are going to level up. We're going to be leveling up in this. No base level runs here for me. I am not that good. I really think I need to up this dex by 1. And that will give me access to weapons later on. Unfortunately, where I can get 2 more points out of this. Vitality is just your equipment load, essentially. It raises some defensive stats, but a lot of it is going to be the equip load, meaning I can equip heavier things. I don't need that right now. This knight set is perfectly fine as is. And until I get a strength weapon, I probably will not be doing that. I really need some endurance and some vigor. So I will raise both by 1. And that gives me level 12. I need about another 100 souls or so to level up again.
Farewell, Ashen One. May the flames guide thee.
Thanks. Firelink Shrine is going to house just about everybody we're ever going to meet at some point. Just about, I think, every major NPC. A couple of them don't, but most of them will come through here. This is a buddy that's going to be with us throughout most of the journey.
Another one roused from the sleep of death. Well, you're not alone. We unkindled are worthless. Can't even die right. Gives me conniptions. And they'd have us seek the Lords of Cinder and return them to their moulding thrones. But we're talking true legends with the metal to link the fire. We're not fit to lick their boots.
Gives us the emote collapse.
Don't you think?
This is our Crestfallen, and every single SoulsBourne game. I actually don't know in Bloodborne if there's a Crestfallen character like this. But there's always some guy who's just super pessimistic.
What a sick joke. Asking us to seek the Lords of Cinder and return them to their moulding thrones. We're talking true legends. Those who would link the fire.
So he's got nothing else really important to say. We've got a few other characters in here. I'm not going to talk to them very long. Andre of Astora from Dark Souls 1, he goes without saying. He's going to be our blacksmith. He's going to upgrade our weapons. He's going to enhance our weapons. We actually will be giving him Estus shards so we can upgrade our Estus flask. I'm going to be talking with him in just a second, but I want to just speak to the Shrine Handmaiden.
A pleasure to
You can see she's got the same wrappings around her face, or at least in a similar style as the Shrine Maiden. She's got a band around her eyes. You saw her actually put it on in the opening cutscene. This is going to be our primary vendor, though. She's going to sell us the boss armor sets, some items, actually some NPC quest items. Hopefully we'll get to them. I don't remember all the NPC quest lines. I know how to activate the final, like, kind of ultimate ending cutscene. I don't remember how to do everybody else's stuff, though. So we'll figure it out as we go. But basically, as we go throughout the world, we'll find items that we can give to her, and she will increase her stock. So right now, she's got a little bit of nothing. The halberd might actually be handy. That's a quality weapon, though. We're gonna stick away from that. But, you know, if you need fire bombs, if you need, these poison moss, these will cure your poison, you can get them here. The white sign soapstone, which we will not need since we're not doing online co-op. We could also buy some basic armor and some basic, like, arrows and stuff like that. Ooh. Do you actually sell a bow? You do not sell a bow right now. And we'll buy a torch later on, but 300 souls, we're gonna need that. Okay. So that settles fire. Well, no, actually, we've got some business here. The crows from all the Dark Souls games, and Demon Souls, they do make an appearance here. And normally you can't get to them till a little bit later on, but there actually is a little bit of a shortcut. And I know most people know this. Here, we got a Tree of a Giant coming over from Dark Souls 2. What triggers this seed to fall while I'm here, because I won't talk about this again, you have to be invaded a certain amount of times. And I don't know what the number is, but if you get invaded, I think 3 or 4 times, something like that, then a seed will fall. And what that does is you use the seed, and the enemies in the world will turn against the invader. Normally, enemies will just ignore. So, we can actually get up to this roof by hopping off this tree, and I'm hopefully going to try to get that done here. It's a little bit of a tricky jump. But you hop up the tree, and then you lean towards the ledge. Nope, didn't go far enough the tree. Nope, not quite. Do it again. Do it again! Almost. That was close. That was close. That was a much better angle.
We'll get there. Almost. Okay. Couple more times. And the reason I'm doing this is because there's a couple of very important items that I want early, and this is the way to get them early. Because normally I have to wait until after the Undead Settlement, which isn't a ton of time away, but far enough away where I lose some of the advantages of these items early on. So, so close. I need to go further up the tree, and then angle harder. I'm not angling. I'm also getting some weird frame drops. What the hell? You just cut this in post. God, leave it all in. Leave it all in. Leave it all in. Do it. Do it, Laz. Nope. We'll keep doing it. I'm going to have to jump. Oh, come on. I got this like the first time I did it. When I first discovered it. Now I am fucking it up. I'm fucking it up.
Yes! I got up top. Okay, so we got some homeward bones up here, which are handy. You do use homeward bones. But what else is important is it gives us access to this really early. And here we get a secret location for the crows. Normally it's up top there, you can actually see the nest. But down here there's some feathers. Yeah, I'll give you pickle pea and pumperum. Actually, I have a firebomb. I need to unequip it though. I believe this gives us something. Leave a firebomb. Pumperum! Yeah, we got some pumperum. Large titanite shard. Worth it. Here we got our Estus shard. And then over here is our first encounter with a invisible wall. I could have actually just rolled through there. Huh. Suck it! Okay. Here we open up this chest, and we get the covetous silver serpent ring. What this does is it increases the amount of souls that we get. So, when a person dies, when I kill a character or enemy, I get more souls out of them. Very handy in the early game, especially if you plan on leveling up. Also kind of handy for if you're going to be doing some co-op and you know you're going to just be doing the same bosses over and over again. Just use that. So we haven't even embedded the coiled sword, so let's do that right now. And this is the first time I've seen anything like this in a Souls game, where we actually make a bonfire. And we're not just making a bonfire, we're making like the bonfire that allows us to fast travel. Very interesting that happens. And it's really done without fanfare. I did not check out the item description on that sword, though. That's okay, I could just look that up later if somebody's really hankering for that. Before we go off and begin our adventure, I want to talk some business with Andre of Astora.
Well, a newcomer, I see. I am Andre. I serve at this shrine as a humble smith, forging weapons. You're in search of the Lords of Cinder, I trust?
I am.
A toilsome journey, I'd wager. You'll require good arms. Let me smith you weapons.
Okay.
I am a smith. Such is my purpose.
It is. Actually, I believe that this is not the same Andre from Dark Souls 1. Or if it is, he is at least unkindled like us. Like, that is my firm belief, because he only... you know what? I'll save this discussion for later on, because there's some evidence that he is either super special or reincarnated. So we'll save that for a much later episode. We need to allot our Estus. The blue Estus will refill our magic and weapon art stuff. I don't plan on using a ton of magic, and frankly, the weapon arts I use only rarely in emergency situations, so at least for the long sword. So until I find a strength weapon that has a neat weapon art, we're just keeping on the healing. Okay. That about wraps it up for our first episode of Dark Souls 3. Kind of a lore through, kind of a walk through, kind of a general just playthrough. Most people have played through this game or at least watched LPs of it, so I'm going to be kind of playing it the way I would play it. Obviously, I'll let the NPCs talk as I go through, just in case there's somebody that hasn't heard the dialogue before. But expect me to interrupt and expect me to spoil things as we go. So... I will be seeing the rest of you in the next episode. Bye-bye!